Well, greetings one and all, and welcome back to another beautiful day here in the UK. The sun is out, the birds are singing, and life couldn't be better, to be honest. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a barbecue, so that should be fun. But what you're really here for is another pen review. And this one has been very kindly donated on loan by Elliot for review. And we have got a Nino Marino signature line here, or signature collection. So let's get this unboxed and see what we have. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so what we're going to do, we're going to have a closer look at the pen in detail, as well as the contents of the box, and then I will provide you an overview, a writing sample, my size comparisons, and then my final thoughts and feelings. So let's join me over at the table and we'll have a closer look at the pen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so we've got the Liberta here, which is one of the signature collection pens, and what we are presented with is a cardboard outer box. It's got handcrafted with heart by Nino Marino, Italy, and then on the side, signature collection. Can't speak this morning, it's getting hot already and I'm losing my energy levels, but we'll soldier on, The outside graphics are quite nice. I mean, it's not particularly inspiring, if I'm brutally honest. I think the wax seal is a little bit cheesy, but I can understand why it's being done. I think maybe like an actual photograph of a wax seal with Nino Marino's signature on there would perhaps look a little bit better. I know that's a little bit pernickety, but I'm actually trained as a graphic designer and I can't help but sometimes over-criticize on some aspects. So please don't necessarily take this into sort of consideration for your choice to buy or not buy this pen, because we don't buy pens for the packaging, let's face it, although it does help in terms of giving us an appreciation that we have a fine writing instrument. So let's take the cardboard outer sleeve off, and then we've got the repeated graphic on the inside. Now I have noticed that it's a lot warmer on tones on the outside packet, and then it's a bit cooler on the inside. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Perhaps it is more to do with the fact that they were done on different printers or different cardstock. Maybe, who knows. But anyway, we've got this nice textured front, repeats all the way around, and then we have got this silver foil which outlines on a sort of raised piece of card, and it's meticulously put together actually, I think. Other than the quality of the graphics, which I think could be potentially improved, I've seen better stuff from Nino, I think it's a pretty handsome box. We don't have, like some other companies out there, a sort of a cardboard inner box. We just got the outer box and then the inner box. And I think this really is so much better. Right, so let's undo that. And we've got a magnetically clasped box. And then on the inside, we've got Liberta Luna Blue. Now, forgive my terrible Italian pronunciations. So that's what we've got. Notice it's a little bit raised there. I wonder if it came like that to Elliot. But anyway, inside we have got with compliments, so a letter. So we've got a handwritten letter, I believe, or is it printed? Oh, it's printed, but it's got a hand signature on there, which is very nice. Very, very nice. And that is in Italian, and then we have got a English translation as well. And I think that one was translated by Elliot. Yes. So, dear customer, thank you for choosing us. From the fruits of passion and a love for beauty, this fountain pen of highest quality is made exclusively by hand with extreme attention to detail. The Nino Marino writing instruments are dedicated to those who love to write, to leave an incredible trace of themselves. Nino Marino. The signature combines the past, present and future. Handcrafted with heart. So thanks, Elliot, for getting that translated. I really appreciate that. Next of all, we have got, let's just put that back in there temporarily. We have got a little warranty guide, I guess, and a little bit of an introduction to the range. I think a missed opportunity in here. Yeah, it doesn't show the other colours in the range, which is a bit of a shame. But it's a nice put together glossy little brochure. In here we have got the great value of being free is often taken for granted because it's generally a substantially recognised value, and doing what you love is freedom. To quote this, or to this quote, I would like to add a simple thought of mine. True freedom is to be sought in ourselves, and if each of us can feel truly free, we will be able to build a better future. Very nice sentiments. Liberta collection wants to be the hymn to freedom for every human being. Writing is a journey, and in which each person express himself. I should think that should say themselves, because women do write as well. Writing transforms our free thought into something that can remain indelible over time. It gives us pleasure, a pleasure that is not only linked to the beauty of the stroke, but to something that lives in our soul. My personal thanks to you for choosing this fountain pen, Nino Marino. I won't read the rest of it, but we have got some instructions here. This pen is made with a piston mechanism, a reservoir concealed inside the barrel. Twist the blind cap anti-clockwise until it stops, then dip the pen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty much a standard warranty booklet. And then we've got a signature at the end. And this is number 2 of 18. So, very good. And then finally we have the pen and a bottle of ink. Now the actual packaging is very reminiscent of previous ventures from both Mayora and Nettuno, when we got like this hourglass sort of foam insert with the actual pen inside. And then we get a nice little bottle of ink. And what I really appreciate is that we've got these sort of little cutouts on the side, which helps you sort of grip the ink. Now I'm not going to use this ink, it's Elliot's, but I have got this pen inked up already. And here we go, here's the pen. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip back to my face, and then I'll give you the dimensions and my overview. As ever, I'm going to provide you with the dimensions for this pen and its filling capacities. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to start from the top, work our way down to the bottom, and then, as I say, I'm going to give you a writing sample, some size comparisons, and then my final thoughts and feelings. So let's start from the top. We have got a conical top on this finial, very, very nice. It's not too sharp, and then it comes down onto a ring clip, which is very, very nice. I do like ring clips. I feel it from a design language. It just looks more aesthetically pleasing than trying to indent the actual clip into the actual barrel itself. So that's just a personal opinion, but one which I love. And then we've got this quite shaky, I don't know if you can hear that. We've got this quite shaky wheel on here, but still very nice nonetheless. And the trim is beautifully appointed. Then we come down onto the main cap, and then we've got two outer rings, followed by this really, really beautiful sterling silver center band, and I don't know or center ring, I don't know what the pattern is, but it is beautiful nonetheless, and I really appreciate the fact that we've got a little bit of sterling silver on here. Over the time that will patina very nicely, and it will really show off that pattern absolutely fantastically. Then it steps down onto the main barrel, which tapers down ever so slightly to the end, where we've got another little silver ring, which basically gives us the blind cap for the piston filling mechanism, which I won't operate today. but that is actually a proper piston filling mechanism, which is great. Okay, so let's just talk about the material. So this is the lunar blue finish, and as I turn this, you're getting a lot of blue with streaks of like a yellow-green going through. It's very, very beautiful, and in some ways it sort of reminds me of waves, just sort of coming in off the ocean with some like iridescent plankton or something like that. And it's just really, really beautifully done. It's quite subtle, but it does pick up on all those patterns across the cap and on the barrel absolutely fantastically. So a very beautiful pen indeed. Then underneath we have got the business end. We've got an 18 karat gold nib, and I believe this one is made by Yovo, and it's got Nino's signature, well, the N of his signature on there, with a plastic feed. Really comfortable section. I love the section on this pen so much. It's different to the Mayora pens out there, which have got a much more sort of, how best to say this, hourglass sort of section, which is really exaggerated. Then we've got some threads for the cap, and then last but not least, we have got what I think is the star of the show, a really nice ink window, and you can really see the actual levels for the ink in there. It's just absolutely wonderful to see an ink window on a pen. And I know some manufacturers tend to shy away from adding them because it can break up the actual design aesthetics, but if you're putting a piston in there, please do consider, at least on one or two pens in your range, just include an ink window. It makes all the difference. So the trim is beautiful. We've got this fantastic rhodium trim and sterling silver appointments, and it's a generally nice sized pen. It's very big. The pen does post, and it posts quite well, although I would say that it does backweight the pen just a little bit, so maybe, you know, a consideration for the future is just to taper the barrel a little bit more so that you can post the actual pen a bit deeper, because there are people which do generally enjoy posting their pens. And that's it, to be honest. It's a really nicely constructed pen. The insides look absolutely meticulous. So yeah, right, let's move on to doing a writing sample, and I shall see you in the next section. Okay, so what we've done is we've filled it up with some Diamine Royal Blue. So I'm just going to show you how the actual piston works. So I'm just going to empty it again, because I want to show you how this works. So that's empty. And there we go, we've got a nice full fill. So just wanted to demonstrate that actually on camera, because I felt it's actually to be quite important. And I had a bit of a mishap earlier, unfortunately, with my SD card running out. So I'm actually doing this section again. And so got some Diamine Royal Blue in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to write out our writing sample as usual. So we have got the Nino Marino, and I'm going to just put this and abbreviate it down to the Liberta. In lunar blue. The nib is an 18 karat gold extra fine nib. And the ink, as I mentioned, is Diamine. Diamine Royal Blue. Fantastic. So we'll write out the quick round fox next. And as I'm writing this out, I'm noticing that this is really smooth, this nib, very nicely tuned. And if I take my microphone off, I'm just going to actually place it down close to the page so you can just hear how smooth it actually truly is. So we're just going to do a wetness test next. And it's moderately wet. I mean, for an extra fine, that is pretty good. So let's put that back onto my shirt. Okay, and we'll continue with the rest. So one thing I have noticed with this pen is that there is really no line variation to be had whatsoever. I mean, there's some, but I can get just as much out of any ordinary pen, to be quite frank. And it's very, very stiff. So don't try and push down on this pen. So let's see what we can do in terms of reverse writing. And it's incredibly, incredibly smooth. So yeah, I have to say that this is a really nice nib. Is it worth the extra money? I don't know. That's entirely down to you. You know, 18 karat gold nibs are not cheap, but you know it's a luxurious item, so you put a luxurious nib on there. I guess that's the thinking. Anyway, let's move on to the next section where I will give you the size comparisons. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so starting from left to right, we have got a Pelican M200 in gold swirls. Then we've got an Iboya from Bocomondo, which will be coming up for review very soon. Then we've got a Leonardo Officina Italiano Momento Zero, and that's in blue Hawaii. Then we've got the Nino Marino Liberta in Luna Blue. Then we've got the Leonardo Officina Italiano Momento Zero Grande, and that's in the Arco. And then last but not least, we have got the Santini Libra. So let's have a look at these pens uncapped, and then I'll give you a closer look at those. Okay, so uncapped. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. The Pelican M200 and the Leonardo aren't too dissimilar actually in terms of length. The Leonardo being just actually a smidge bit wider. Interestingly, the Iboya and the Liberta here, the actual nib is slightly longer, and I think the actual grip section there is slightly longer, although it's more slender than that on the Liberta. Then we've got the Leonardo next to it, which is actually a little bit shorter on the section, but a slightly longer on the nib. And then on the Santini, it's virtually identical, both in terms of the length from the nib to the nib, and then in terms of section as well as girth. Maybe a hair bit bigger on the Liberta. So that is the size comparisons. Now let's give you my final thoughts and feelings. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, final thoughts and feelings on this pen. I love this pen. I love it a lot. And Elliot, you know, this is a very, very good buy. Price-wise, I'm going to talk about later on, but there is a lot going on here which I just absolutely simply adore. I love the trim on it. It is very tastefully done. The actual ring clip on here is just beautiful. Even though it rattles a little bit, that doesn't really bother me, to be honest. It's just such a stylish pen to look at, whether it's from the profile, whether it's from front on, whether it's from the top, whether it's from the bottom. All angles of this pen is really absolutely, truly wonderful. And quite interestingly, there is actually no sort of branding on the actual barrel. There's no Nino Marino collection. The only branding on here is the nib itself. And I think that's kind of nice, to be honest. It sort of lets the design really speak for the brand rather than the brand speaking for the design. And I think that's really important. So a good conscious decision on Nino's behalf, I feel. The actual clip ring, as I say, was beautiful. The actual trim on here is just fantastic. That sterling silver is going to look so good over time with the really heavily indented patterns on here. That just looks so stylish. Coming onto the material itself, again, it's very tastefully done. The ebonite is really nicely polished, as you can see as I turn the pen. Just looks so beautiful. And then this blind cap, very functional. Would it have been better had this been glued on? Possibly. But the actual piston turning knob operates fine. It's not going to set the world on fire. It's a little bit spongy, but actually, you know what? It works, and it works well. Now, let's have a look under the actual cap. Again, the only branding on the pen is just on the nib itself. We've got a very, very comfortable grip section, and we've got a lovely, lovely ink window. One thing which I would like to have seen, which would have been perhaps more aesthetically pleasing, is just one more ring. I know I've gone from too many rings to I want more rings. But one more ring here, just to maybe balance out the silver ring here on the actual barrel. Just on the other side, I think would have looked better. But having that inclusion of an ink window is just such a lifesaver. The amount of times I've gone to work and a pen has run out because I couldn't see what the ink levels were, especially with piston turning pens. More manufacturers put ink windows on, please, 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 because they are just so, so useful. Whether you hide it under the cap or you just give a little bit of an ink view, doesn't really matter to me. But I'm just so glad that there is an ink window on here. So going forwards, more ink windows, please, especially on piston turning pens. Right, so that's the positives. What would I do to improve this pen? Not a whole lot, other than the price. The price, I think, is what's going to be the polarizing aspect for some people here. You're talking around about £649 here for this pen, and that's a lot of money. I mean, you're in Visconti, you're in Nakaya territory, you're in definitely Aurora territory, and you can get a very similar pen to this from Aurora for about £200 less. Now, what is quite interesting, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm sure Nino could probably explain this, is why this is at £649, because the other limited edition pens which Nino have done in the past, whether it's for Nettuno or for Mayora, have been around about the £429 mark. Was it the ebonite? Was it the sterling silver trim on there? I don't know. Was it the piston turning knob? Maybe. I mean, I've had this discussion with Elliot, and he has given some justified reasons, which I accept. But I still think at £649, this is quite a pricey pen. That's not necessarily to say I wouldn't recommend going out to buy one. You buy within your budget, and you know, if you're earning about £2,000 to £3,000, £4,000 a month, this is going to be peanuts for you, and I would certainly recommend going out and buying one of these. But if you're saving up to get one of these, should you? That's entirely up to you, really, at the end of the day. I can't really speak for you. For me, possibly not. Just purely because things like Arushi just speaks to me a lot more. I really appreciate the work hours which go into these pens. And that's not to say, you know, this should be underappreciated. Not at all, because everyone's just got different designs. Oh, actually, we do have a little bit of information. I just haven't seen this before. Very lightly imprinted on the back, we have got the name Luna Blue, number 2 of 18, Italy. And that's actually imprinted on the back. I had not noticed that until now. That is very, very faint. Wow, that is faint. Okay. So yeah, it does designate the actual limited edition on there, so that's good. I was actually looking for that the other day, and I didn't actually notice that. So brilliant. That's good to know that we've got number 2 of 18. And I know Elliot likes his number 2s of 18. So we've got this, and I know he's got a few other pens coming at the same stage. So thanks once again, Elliot, for the loan of this pen. I will be sending this pen back to you very soon, along with your other pen, which will be coming up for review very soon as well. So thank you once again for listening. If you've got any questions or comments, then please leave them in the section below. And as always, I shall see you in the next video. Till then, stay safe and goodbye for now.